Isn't it amazing what you can do with a napkin? In today's video, in my Christmas in July series, first episode, I'm going to show you two really charming ways to use this sweet little bird in the snow. I'll demonstrate two very different decoupage techniques. This on the glass Dollar Tree plate is reverse decoupage, and the image that you see on the canvas is done with another technique. My name is Lisa, and I'm really excited. I think you're going to be delighted to see how easy and inexpensive it is to use Dollar Tree items to create lovely Christmas winter decor. I know it's still summer, but I thought I would get on board with the Christmas in July theme and just do a couple of projects for you. I'm going to be doing several more in my Christmas in July series through the rest of this month. And then we'll move on to some beautiful fall decor. I know some of you have been asking. I'm beginning with a Dollar Tree glass plate that I wiped with an alcohol wipe. And now, as you see, I'm simply using a Dollar Tree sponge brush to apply to the entire backside of the plate a product called Polyvine. It's a multi-surface lacquer, and you could certainly use Mod Podge if you prefer. And in fact, the next time I create one of these, I'm going to use the Mod Podge glitter instead of this Polyvine product. But I'm drying it upside down now on a paint can. It needs to thoroughly dry. The next thing we're going to do is use this sweet little napkin. I bought this package from Amazon, and if you need any guidance on finding them, I can give you more information. The napkin opens up, it's 3-ply, and I'm just cutting out the first of the 4 squares. You'll be able to use the other 3 squares for more decorative designs. The napkin, as I said, is 3-ply, so you want to separate those plies and remove only the top surface of the design. Using a water pen, which you see the cartridge is filled with water, you can outline the design. That creates a feathered or deckled edge. Those of you who follow my channel know I love to use this technique because it allows the design to beautifully blend in to the background, creating the effect of a painted on image. So you can see now that I've outlined the design. I'm just gently pulling away that weakened paper to leave the portion that I want to have displayed. Now I'm using a new technique I recently learned. I'm laying the napkin on a piece of plastic and I'm spraying it with water. That will cause wrinkles and allow me to gently with my fingers pull those wrinkles out. The napkin can absorb the water and we can control how those wrinkles are pulled apart. Now I'm just using some more of that Polyvine lacquer only in the center of the plate this time. This is going to serve as the adhesive. You'll notice that that adhesive, as it dried, provided a matte finish to the back of the plate. Now, once we get this applied, while still wet, I'm going to overturn that napkin that's laying on top of that plastic bag. That's just a sandwich bag that I cut. Now, as I overlay it, I'm gently going to smooth it out, again, eliminating any wrinkles or air bubbles. I'm using those plies I pulled from the napkin just as the tissue to gently smooth it out. Now, all you need to do is, once you have it fully smoothed out, you'll just want to gently remove that plastic bag, and it will leave the design on the back side of the plate very smooth. Now you can either let it air dry or, as I'm doing, use a heat gun to hasten the drying. And as you see, as I turn it over, it's starting to really look cute, but we're not done yet. After it's thoroughly dry, we're going to want to apply a coat of white paint. but we cannot apply the white paint directly to the back without putting a protective layer. I'm using this DuraClear gloss, and that will put a nice barrier between the back of that napkin and the paint that we're going to apply. Again, I just used a Dollar Tree sponge brush to apply that DuraClear gloss varnish, and now I'm speeding up the drying process using this heat gun. While that centerpiece continues to dry, I'm using a sponge brush to apply some lovely silver glitter all the way around the border of the back side of the plate. Remember, everything we're doing up to this point is working on the back of the plate. The underside is the only area that we're working on. I'm using Folk Art Glitterific in the color silver because I thought it would be pretty to carry the theme of the snow right to the outer border of the rim of the plate. So it's just, again, a decorative detail that you may or may not choose to do. And there's other ways of applying glitter, but I thought it would be fun to try this new product. So again, we just need to let it dry thoroughly at this stage. Here it is, the Folk Art Glitterific in silver. It's very thick. Now I'm using some DIY paint in the color white plaster. Again, any white paint will work. So what I'm going to do is use a sponge brush, and I'm going to just put a nice top coat on the center back of this plate. It will have the effect of making that design much more vivid. When you do the back of an image on a reverse decoupage glass plate, you always want to choose either a white or a cream, depending on which best suits your image. In this case, there's a lot of white in the picture with the snow, so I thought a whiter color would be very pretty. So you can see now I'm just applying this, but you could use any other color of white chalk paint that you might have in your supply. Now, as I turn it over, you'll see just how that made the image so much more vivid and beautiful. And you see also how that glitter is so pretty around the border. I did decide to add white paint over the back side of the glitter border as well, and that gave it a prettier look from the front. Here, I'm using some Snow-Tex. This is a really fun product that replicates the look of billowy fallen snow. And I'm using this plastic palette knife that I also bought at Dollar Tree in a package with other brushes. And I'm just applying it, kind of laying it down there in areas where the image conveys a snowy background. And I decided just to give it that 3D effect. Again, this is totally optional. It's a fun product to use, and I did use it last year, as you can see on this picture I did with a Dollar Tree calendar. So that is also on my channel if you'd like to see that project demonstrated. But again, here I'm just adding more of the Snow-Tex. We're not going to use this plate for anything other than decorative display. After I applied this Snow-Tex to the areas that I wanted to enhance with that snowy 3D effect, I'm just going to sprinkle on some iridescent glitter. I bought this large jar last year from Walmart, and it's very good to just sprinkle in while the Snow-Tex is still wet. And that just carries forward the theme of that sparkly snow framing our sweet little bird perched in the middle of the greenery. And as you can see now, I'm just using another small alcohol wipe to wipe the rim of the plate where there was just some stray glitter. Here I have it displayed on a small easel. Dollar Tree also sells small easels, and it makes a very welcoming sight in our entry hall. I'll put it away until the winter months, but during the hot summer, it is a refreshing sight, I must say. Anyway, I think you'll enjoy making one of these. There are so many different possibilities once you learn the basic techniques. Now I'll show you another really fun way to use the same napkin. I purchased this small canvas from Dollar Tree as well as this frame. They were both $1.25. The first step is just to remove that outer shrink wrap, and then we're going to take that white piece of canvas off that wooden frame. Rather than mess with those staples, all you have to do for this is just to use a pair of scissors and cut the piece of canvas. We're going to transfer that napkin image onto the canvas, and it will create, as you'll see, a look of a painted design. So again, rather than mess with pulling out those staples, I'm just using a pair of sharp scissors and I'm cutting along the inside edge so that I can just have a nice rectangular portion of white canvas to use. After you cut it out, then you can just go back and straighten up all your lines so that they're nice and straight. Then you can simply open up your frame. I chose this one because I thought that border complemented colors in that napkin design really pretty. They have so many different frames at the Dollar Tree from which to choose. So just disassemble the frame by gently pulling back on those little clips, and then you can use that easel back as a template. I want to create a mat, so I'm using this beautiful piece of rice paper that I bought from the paper source. I think the wood grain is so pretty and goes with the theme of the bird, as well as kind of mimics the pattern in the bird's wing. Again, you could use any background paper, scrapbook paper, wrapping paper, all kinds of options. Use the back of that easel as your template, and that will give you a perfect cut line. Next, I'm taking that bird napkin again, and we're going to transfer it to the piece of canvas that we cut. To do that, we need to, again, just take one of the squares of the napkin pattern, and you can see, just as I did in the first project, you can see that I'm just cutting one square of the design, and then we're going to use that water pen to again create that deckled edge. Again, just outline your image, a portion of which will fit onto that canvas surface. Here, I'm just tearing away that weakened portion of the paper to create our deckled edge. Once I get that done, I'm then going to separate the plies. Using a drop of Mod Podge on my index finger and thumb makes it very easy to separate those plies. You can see when I first separate, only in this case, the one ply was removed. So I went back and did the same approach with the Mod Podge to pull apart that second ply, leaving only the top layer of the napkin design. It's very important to make sure that you do remove, in the case of 3-ply napkins, that you remove the excess back too. Anyway, then you can see that I'm laying it out on my piece of canvas, and the size of the canvas makes it impossible to capture the entire design, so you just want to use a pretty composition. And once you have that portion of the image, you'll want to lay it upside down against the plastic bag, and then using the sponge brush, apply a nice layer of the Mod Podge. The next thing we're going to do after we get a nice coating is to flip it so that it's sitting right side up against that canvas. Lay it in position, and then again we're going to use some tissue to just gently smooth over that surface, working from the inside of the design outward. That will again eliminate wrinkles or bubbles and enable you to remove that plastic to reveal a look of a painted design. It's a beautiful, easy technique, and once you learn it, you can make so many different beautiful art objects for your home. Here you can see how beautifully that lays on the canvas, taking on that texture. That small amount that overhangs can either be folded over, kind of creating a nice transition where the image goes right over the edge of the canvas, or you can simply rub off that excess, peeling it off with your fingers. Now that you have a nice, clean image, you can go ahead and just let it thoroughly dry before you reassemble your picture frame. And here again, there's endless possibilities. I'm going to go ahead and use the mat and the frame from Dollar Tree, but you could certainly frame this in other Dollar Tree frames. As you'll see, I've done this one in the arched frame from Dollar Tree. There's a wide array of ways that you can display this canvas because it really does look as though the design is painted on. Here, I'm going to attach it to that piece of rice paper that I cut out, and I'm just going to use a little bit of tacky glue on the corners to adhere it so that it'll stay in place within the frame. Now you can see that I'm just going to lay that piece of canvas right over top of our wood designed rice paper, and I'm just going to reassemble that frame, and you'll see just how delightful this is. Total cost just a few dollars, and I think it's so charming and sweet, and that image really does look as though it's been painted. Here's another display option. Dollar Tree sells these arched frames for $1.25, and I think the little bird looks so charming in that frame. Once you learn these basic techniques, there are countless ways that you can create beautiful decor for your home or make lovely gifts. I invite you to subscribe if you haven't already done so. Until then, take care and God bless.